Hi, everybody. This is Grace Downey. I am a sixth grade science teacher at Georgetown Middle School, and today I am going to show you all a little bit more about Summit Learning, which is one of our curriculum tools that we use here at GMS. A lot of the student assignments are posted and embedded within Summit Learning, and ultimately that's also where you'll have access to their grades and whether or not they are on or off track. We have a few things that we're going to focus on this evening. The first one is getting parent access, followed by what focus areas are. There's a chance you've heard a lot about focus areas already. Projects within Summit Learning, and then what on-track versus off-track means within the Summit Learning curriculum. We'll go ahead and get started. So step one, the getting signed in onto a parent account. You could have your student log in and they can access that from anywhere that has internet. You could have them log in and you can see all of their assignments, any feedback given by teachers, their grades, anything. But you also have the option, if you don't feel like waiting for your kid to get home from school, you also have the option to just log in onto a parent account. And you can either get that set up through your mentoring teacher, or hopefully you've already received an email from Summit Learning that will that gave you a username and created a password for you. If that is not the case, check your spam or your junk mail. It likes to go there instead of to your main inbox. If you still can't find it, reach out to your kid's mentoring teacher and they can make sure to resend it to you. You'll want to go to summitlearning.org. So if you look on the screen, Summit, SUMMIT, learning.org. And when you go there, you're going to see towards the top right a yellowish orange login button, and you'll want to click there. That should take you to a screen that looks something similar to this. It'll say Google Drive or OneDrive or an enrollment code. You're going to skip all that. At the very top right, there is a parents login button, and that is for you. Once you click on that, you'll put in the username that Summit Learning sent you along with the password, and it will take you to a screen that looks like this. You'll have announcements in the middle, but then you have this blue bar on the left. The thing that the kids use the most is the year button. And that's because it shows you a year-long overview of what's going on in each of the students' classes, right? And all of their core classes are on there. Some of the Encore teachers also use this website as a curriculum tool. So you're going to see a lot of classes when you hit the year page. Once you click on that, again, it's at the left, blue bar, and when you hover over it, it'll say year. And it'll take you to something that looks like this. You might see all of the courses are there. So Elements of Art, Ancient History, English, Math, Science, they're all there. And then you're going to see a lot of different options to choose from. All of the courses are broken up into projects, and that's going to be at the top of each course. And you'll see the name of each of the projects. You have your power focus areas, and then there are also additional focus areas and challenge focus areas. We're going to go more in depth into each of those things in just a moment, but ultimately, your projects are the bulk of a student's grade. It's 80% of a student's grade, except for the math class. The math class, it's 70%. So 70 to 80% of a student's grade is based on these larger overarching projects. And then the power focus areas, the additional focus areas, when you combine those together, make up 20% of a student's grade. In the math class, there's also a section called portfolio problems. And in math, that is worth 10% of the grade. But the focus of tonight's conversation will be about the projects as well as the focus areas. You might also see challenge focus areas in some of your courses. Those are just exactly what they sound like. They're just a challenge for students that might be really interested in a particular a particular course, and want to just learn as much as they can. And it just goes a lot of times it like goes deeper into whatever grade level standard they're covering, or it might go like above and beyond. So it gives the students the chance to accelerate if they would like. All right. So we're going to start with focus areas. What are they? What's all the fuss about? And also what parents can do to help their child. If you know families that have had students at GMS before, and they've talked about Summit, one of the first thing that comes up are the focus areas. And so I just want to address those first. So focus areas, they're exactly what they sound like. Students spend time reviewing the resources in these focus areas to gain a stronger understanding of the content that's covered in class. So you can click on each of the focus areas and you'll see learning objectives. You'll also see like articles, text sets, videos, and websites where students can practice the skills and the content that fall within each of the focus areas. The focus area content is taught during our normal class time. So like in math or science, but then the students are responsible for taking advantage of the additional time given to them during our 4th hour class, self-directed learning, to prepare for the focus area quizzes. The power focus areas, that's the second line. If you're looking at the year page and looking at those courses, the power focus areas are the second line. Those are essential content pieces that are covered in each class. The power focus areas are required to pass the course. And so once the teachers provide the materials and the content and the time for students to be introduced to it, those power focus area quizzes are the ones that students have to pass in order to move on to the next grade. And that's, again, for math, social studies, English, and science. Focus areas are also a space where students, again, can dive into a class they really enjoy and then grow their knowledge in a particular area. And they could do that in the additional focus areas and the challenges. The additional focus areas will also help boost your kid's grade up a little bit, right? So like the additionals aren't required to move on to the next grade, but let's say a student has a B, but they're really trying to pass this course with an A for the year, then I would say the first step is to see if those additional focus areas have been completed, because that'll boost it up by up to 6%. The more additional focus areas you do, the better impact it has on a student's overall grade. All right. And so then that sounds all well and good. But then there's this line. If you look on the screen on your page, you're also going to see this blue line. And it causes a little bit of a fuss sometimes. So this line, we like this line. The line helps with time management for the kids. It also shows students and families and teachers, really, the project that students are working on in each of their classes, as well as like if they're on track for the year, that is the content in the focus areas that they are currently talking about. That helps the teachers that maybe aren't teaching that content. So like if I'm in my self-directed learning class and I have students that are trying to get help with English or with history, it lets me know what topic they're talking about so that I can help them, because I'm not in the class. I teach science, so I'm not in the history class. And so that helps me. It also allows kids the chance to plan their time accordingly. if this line is getting closer to the end of this focus area, they know that, oh, I should probably be um, using my time during fourth hour to review the activities and the lessons that we did in class so that I can take the focus area quiz. And so it helps kids with time management. And it really is, it's a great tool. However, the line sometimes tells some harsh truths. Um, if the line, so the line moves, it moves all year, right? We set the beginning of school date, we put in our breaks, and the end of the school year. And with the exception of those breaks, the line does not stop moving. And so what happens sometimes is that the line will pass a power focus area. And if it is past that focus area box, so like if you look at my mouse on my screen, if you look at where it says elements of life, eventually this line is going to pass that focus area because it moves every day. And if it doesn't, if they haven't passed the focus area quiz yet, then it will automatically show up and it will be bright red. And then it shows that the students are off track in that class. It's easily fixable, but it does show that the students are off track, and it'll show that on their overall grade. And so the way to fix that is for students to study and then take those focus area quizzes. And students have they can make it up at any point before the end of the school year. So if they're behind, as soon as they pass that focus area assessment or that focus area quiz, it turns green and all is well in the world. But when that line passes, it'll turn red. And sometimes kids who struggle with the time management piece are hit with a little bit of reality that, oh, I should have already had that done. But we like the line. If you ever have a question about the line or power focus areas, then you want to reach out to the teacher for that class. So again, like for me, their parents would reach out to me if they have a question about one of the 6th grade science focus areas. And so you would just reach out to whichever teacher is responsible for that course. And they can tell you ways that you can help your kid at home. You know, they can access all of these resources at home. And we can give you some next steps, right? As long as students have internet, they can get to all of the reading sets, the practice questions. They're called Check for Understanding. You can also have your kids bring their binders home. You know, Summit Learning is a tool that we use, and a lot of the assignments are embedded within that website. But a lot of our classwork is still done on paper. So a lot of the note taking that students do still going to be on paper. So something you could also do is you might have your kids bring home their school binders so that they can review flashcards or articles or anything like that, right? They can't take the quiz at home, but they could do everything else to prepare for those focus areas at home. All right, so I think that's enough about focus areas. The next one we're going to look at the projects. Those projects, again, are the really large unit assignments that make up the bulk of a student's grade in a course, right? So those kids really take the stuff that they're learning in their focus areas and that they're learning in the classroom, and they're applying that content knowledge in order to create things, right? In the real world, they aren't just done when they pass a quiz. They have to apply the knowledge in the workplace or in like a college setting or a trade setting. They have to apply that knowledge somehow. So our projects allow us to have kids create short stories or 3D models. There's also argumentative pieces, right? Like as adults, we have to argue about things all the time based on evidence. They might make posters. They might analyze data. They might create videos, create presentations. And then there are bukus of other things that these projects ask kids to do once they've learned all of the content in that unit. The projects focus, while you have to have the science content knowledge in order to complete the task, the projects are really graded on something called cognitive skills. And these are real world skills that require the kids to actually think about what they are doing. On this screen, I have an example of one that is primarily used in English, but also used in other courses. And this is a writing skill. So in the real world, you might have to develop either an oral or a written narrative that connects experiences or events. And so we have the kids do that in their projects. And those projects there's a rubric, and that's what you're looking at on the screen. So like in order for a kid to score a 2, they have to meet these criteria. In order for students to score a 3, they have to meet the criteria in that box. And then for a 4, they have to meet the criteria that's, again, within that box. And as the students get older and they go into a higher grade level, the scores for those get higher. And new criteria are added on. And that allows the kids the chance to really grow and build the skills in an age-appropriate setting. If you have questions about projects, reach out to that content teacher. If you can't get a hold of them, reach out to your kid's mentoring teacher. Because even if they can't answer a question about that specific content, they can reach the people that can. So the last thing I really want to talk about is on track versus off track. If I'm going to be honest, it's pretty challenging to put a percentage grade on whether or not kids are able to do things, right? I always tell kids in science, like you don't just know science. Like it's one thing to know various pieces of science trivia. It's a whole other thing for kids to be able to do science. And doing science and practicing science skills, it's hard for me to say, oh, well, they did 95% of a good job on that, right? Like when you say it like that, it doesn't even make sense. And so we try to avoid percentages until the end of the school year because the state requires us to put a letter grade to it and put a percentage grade to it. And so it's also hard for teachers to put any kind of percentage on what students have learned if there's no evidence of learning, right? If there's not any evidence of learning, we can't say that kids don't know any of the material. We just don't know. And so instead of using, oh, they have an F, oh, they have an 89B, we use on track versus off track. So on track means students are performing at an age appropriate level and they have shown evidence that they know the science content or the math content that our state standards say are grade or age level appropriate. We also use on track versus off track because it doesn't seem fair to give a kid a lower grade at the end of the year because they didn't do well on something the first time they did it. And so what ends up happening is we, every time a kid practices that skill, if they get a better score on it, then that's the score that's kept. And so their grade is really only ever going to go up unless they don't turn something in, at which point it says they're off track. All right. So if you see that it's green, if a project is green or if a class is green, we consider it on track. And what that means is that there aren't any assignments missing and that you're passing the course, right? So not only do you not have any assignments missing, but you're at grade level. On track is not the same thing as an A. It just means it is a passing grade. So if you have questions for your teacher about how their on track status translates to like a percentage grade, reach out to your science content teacher. You can see this in the Summit Learning page by hitting, if you go to that blue bar where you hit your year page, there's also a progress page. And that'll show all of the courses, whether they are on track or off track, and then if they're on track, the scores that they've earned and how that translates into a traditional grade. If it's off track, it'll just say off track. It does, regardless of what like the letter grade or anything is in the middle. If they're missing an assignment or if they are performing below grade level in their projects, it'll say that they're off track. Right. So if it says they're off track, you definitely want to reach out to your kid's mentoring teacher or to the class specific teacher. Because while off track is relatively easy to make up, because most of the time it's just because they're missing an assignment. If they're off track, it does prevent students from moving on at the end of the year. So we want to avoid being off track at any and all costs. All right, I think that's all I have. We covered how to log into Summit Learning. We talked about focus areas. We talked about those unit projects that really make up the bulk of the student's grade. And then we talked about what on track means versus off track. If you need more help, we do have a Georgetown Middle School YouTube channel, and it is called Everything GMS. If you look at my screen, there is a buffalo and it says Georgetown Middle School. That's the icon you're looking for or the logo that you're looking for. If you just do like a YouTube search for Everything GMS, if you see this icon, you know you're at the right place. This slide deck is also going to be on our Georgetown Middle School Facebook page. So if you go onto the slide deck, you should just be able to click this or hit Control click, depending on how your device works. And it should take you straight there. And we answer questions on that YouTube page, not only about Summit, but about things that are going on at GMS in general. So I encourage you to subscribe to Everything GMS. And I also encourage you to log on to that parent login for Summit Learning so that you can get an idea of the things that your kids are doing in school this year. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. Again, my name is Grace Downey. I teach 6th grade science. If you have questions, feel free to reach out by email to any of your mentor teachers or by calling Georgetown Middle School. Our school number is 502-863-3805. So again, you can either call the school, email your student's mentoring teacher, or you can get onto our GMS Facebook page, or you can subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks again, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day.